students, welcome in the lecture of the surgery. Hope that you may have observed or watched the previous lectures on the carbuncles, erysipelas, etc. Now in today's lecture, we'll be going to see the cellulitis. The cellulitis, the definition of the cellulitis is that it is a spreading infective of subcutaneous tissue and or facial planes. So this is the cellulitis. Cellulitis is a spreading inflammation. Means it starts from the small area and it involves the nearer tissue and spread over the all tissues are there, neighboring tissues are there. So that's why it is a spreading infective inflammation of the subcutaneous tissue and a facial plane. Here it differs from the other lesions are there. Other lesions may be localized, but it is a spreading. Second, it is differentiated from erysipelas. In erysipelas, it is a superficial inflammation, only involving the superficial part of the skin, but it is the subcutaneous inflammation. So overall, the cellulitis is the spreading inflammation of the subcutaneous tissue or the facial plane. Then the causative organism. Any organism which have the power of the infection causing inflammation will produce the cellulitis. But common organism is commonly, or you can say common organism is streptococci or Streptococcus pyogenes. Streptococcus pyogenes have the property or the characteristic of causing the spreading infection as compared to the other bacteria are there. Then the common site, it can occur anywhere on the body, but most commonly it is seen on the legs. Most commonly it occurs on the lower limb. Even though it is common on the lower limb, it can be occurs anywhere in the body. The predisposing conditions like diabetes or the age, elderly people, they are more commonly get the cellulitis there. Then the clinical features. There are variable clinical features with the progress of the lesion. The clinical features are: number one, painful with tenderness. Second, the affected part is red, or you can say redness of the affected part. Third, tightness of the skin. Overlying the inflammation. Tightness is there. The skin is hot and tender because there is induration. Then swelling. Affected part is swollen, often edematous, and there is a pitting type of the edema. Pitting edema. Pitting edema means edema where will be pit or form the depression or dimple after the pressing over it. It's a pitting edema. Next clinical features. Fever toxemia. Toxemia. The fever and toxemia is variable with the spread of the inflammation. If inflammation spread more, the fever will be high grade. And if inflammation is spreading more and causing the septic conditions, there is a development of the toxemia is there. It's a variable from patient to patient. Then it may turn into pus formation. Pus formation. Pus formation. Or may form the abscess. May form the abscess, may convert to the abscess are there. There may other clinical features are there when this inflammation or this infection becomes more severe. There is a dizziness, lethargy. Yeah, all these symptoms will be developed in addition to that. Shaking, chill. There may be a fever with the chill. In advanced cases when inflammation spread, the more or occupying the more area of the body tissue is there. So these are the common clinical features of the cellulitis. It differ from the erysipelas and other lesions are there. As you have seen in erysipelas, the skin are red, rose pink. Here it is not rose pink is there. Second, in erysipelas, the lesion it grows. Swelling is there and it grows above the surface. It is not above the surface, underneath the surface is there. Because here the subcutaneous tissue gets affected. So then complications. Most common complication of the cellulitis is that the abscess formation. Abscess. First is the abscess. And second, even it may turn into or may develop the gangrene. Especially in the diabetic patient or in the elderly people. Mostly in the diabetic patients. So this is about the clinical features and the complications. Investigations. The blood examination for CBC and for BSL, blood sugar level. This should be carried out. Two examination, blood examination, CBC and the blood cell count and the blood sugar level, both fasting as well as the post meal. Then for the treatment. The treatment, it includes first, rest of the part. Second, elevation of the part. Where the part should be raised, especially in cases of the limbs. The limb should be raised above the body surface or above the heart level, to reduce the swelling which occurs in the cellulitis or the edema occurring in the cellulitis. This is the best one method to reduce the edema. Then antibiotics, use of antibiotics. Usually in these cases, broad spectrum antibiotics is used. Erythromycin also can be used, but the broad spectrum antibiotics can be used. As we have seen in erysipelas, the streptococci is sensitive for the penicillin. So you can use the penicillin also there. But other antibiotics also can be used. Then next, the pain relievers. If the patient has intense pain, sometimes due to tightness of the skin, due to swelling underneath the skin, it causes the severe pain. In such cases, you have to use the pain relievers are there. If pain is not there, no need to give the pain relievers or the painkillers are there. Then antipyretics. Antipyretics should be given in cases of the fever there. Then lastly, surgical treatment. The surgical treatment is indicated in the cellulitis when there is a suppuration. The suppuration is too much, abscess formation is there. Second, if the cellulitis is not healed by giving the antibiotics and these other treatments, or if there is a recurrent cellulitis occurring in the persons, that you have to take the incision, isn't it? You have to incise and you have to drain out the pus collected inside the tissue, or clean the wound by taking the incision. So, surgical treatment. So, usually it doesn't require the surgical treatment, it can be treated with the medicine, but sometimes it may require the surgical treatment. Then you have to advise or have to perform or carry out the surgical treatment. That taking the incision over the surface along the Langer's line and how to drain out that. On the limb, the usually vertical or the incision along the axis of the limb should be taken. So, it is about the cellulitis. At exam point of view, you will get the question for the short notes on this. So, the cellulitis. So then we will see the boils. Boils, it is infection of hair follicles. Hair follicles. Extending causes the perifolliculitis. Perifolliculitis. So boils, it is an infection of the hair follicles. Isn't it? It causes the perifolliculitis, or it will lead into the perifolliculitis. Causative organism, this is caused by the staphylococcus. Staphylococci. It is staphylococcal infection. The common site, it can occur anywhere where the hairy follicles are presented. Pathology and the clinical features. At first, it appears a small eruption or small lesions, which is painful and indurated. It occurs as a small lesion, like a small eruption, like the red eruption is there, and which is a very painful and indurated. Later, it becomes soft at the top. Becomes soft at the top. Then converts into the pustules. So this indurated lesions, it remains for the 2 to 3 days. It remains for the 2 to 3 days. After 2 to 3 days, the top of the lesion becomes the soft. Then it will converts into pustules. Converts with the pustules, and these pustules containing the pus, it will burst. And there is a discharge of the pus. Discharging the pus. After discharge of the pus, lesion becomes empty, and then healing takes place by fibrosis. Healing takes place by granulation, and finally the fibrosis is there. Fibrosis is there. So healing takes place. Some of the wells, what happens, it doesn't burst. They remains closed and the healing takes place. And some of they burst, opens, and the discharge of the pus is there, and later on, followed by the discharge of pus from the lesion, healing occurs by the granulation of the tissue, and it becomes fibrosis, and healing is completely takes place. Sometimes there will be a mild fever regarding clinical features, and as already stated, the small swelling with the what? The painful swelling is there. And fever is the mild. Toxemia is very rare in case of the boils. Then treatment. Treatment. In treatment, the hot application is the best treatment. Whenever the boils occur, the hot application should be carried out on that. The boil will be healed immediately. Heal immediately. Usually antibiotics are not needed. Elevation of the part sometimes needed if on the limb is to be there, but mainly the hot application is sufficient, isn't it? Pain killers, pain relievers. In case of painful boils, in case of painful boils. Usually antibiotics are not needed here in these cases, but if recurrent, antibiotics should be given. In recurrent boils. Recurrent boils. If the patient have the complaints of the recurrent boils. Another thing you have to remember, if the patient have the history of the recurrent boils, we must have go for the investigations, especially for the diabetes. And if the person have the diabetes, then you have to do the or carry out the treatment of the diabetes. Treatment of the diabetes. Both you can write down. If still recurrent boils, then you have to do the BSL, blood sugar level, BSL, and if the patient have found suffering from the diabetes, you must have to do the treatment of the diabetes, and along with that, how to use the antibiotics. Suitable antibiotics are the broad spectrum antibiotics. So this is in the boils.